Should you pay off debt or save first? If you're unsure, you're not alone. Make the wrong move and you can stay stuck in debt way longer than necessary, but make the right move and you can finally feel in control of your money. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to decide, plus I'm going to show you some examples to give you complete clarity and practical steps to move forward. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Davinia and welcome to my Finance Corner. I've been working in accounting and finance for over 15 years, but most of what I've learned has come from my own personal finance journey. I've been stuck in debt, I've lived paycheck to paycheck, but now I've created financial independence. So I've created this channel to help you avoid the money traps and start building wealth sooner. Let's get into it. The traditional advice. Most financial advice will tell you to pay off debt first, and the accountant in me completely understands. I mean, it makes the most sense mathematically. But the thing is, this doesn't factor in real life, because if you choose that approach and your car breaks down, your boiler needs repairs, you have an unexpected medical bill, or worst case scenario, you lose your job, you'll probably have to use your credit card or go further into debt to cover those costs. That's why the answer isn't debt or savings. In my opinion, it's a balance of both, but in the right order. So to really see why this matters, let's look at the numbers. The math makes it simple. If you've got a £10,000 credit card balance at 24% interest rate, and you also have savings sitting in an account earning a 4% interest rate, at the end of the year, your savings will earn you £400, but your debt will cost you £2,400. So at the end of the year, you'll be £2,000 worse off. Now that's a lot of money wasted, which is why high interest debt really can hold you back from building wealth. But numbers only tell half of the story. What works in real life is a system that balances both protection and progress. The principle. Now, here's my rule of thumb. Number one, build a starter emergency fund. This will cover you for most unexpected expenses and it will give you protection and peace of mind. Then, attack debt while still saving smaller amounts. Then once your debt is paid off, build your full emergency fund. This way, you're doing two important things. You're covering yourself for setbacks and you're stopping debt from draining your finances any further. This is the exact system that helped me. I was stuck in debt because I was living above my means and I had no savings, so I had nothing to cover me for any unexpected expenses. So I decided to get serious and pay off my debt and take control of my finances. While I was paying off debt, my car broke down and I had to use my credit card again to cover the costs. So I realised I can't just throw all of my money at paying off debt and need to build an emergency fund. So I built a starter emergency fund. Then I paid off my debt while saving small amounts. And this worked really well for me. It gave me peace of mind because I could focus on paying off my debt, and if an emergency did come up, I knew I had money set aside to cover it. Now, depending on the type of debt you have, this principle could look different. So let's look at some examples. Let's take Keisha. She has £100,000 of student loan debt at a 6% interest rate. Because her interest rate is modest, here's what she could focus on. She could prioritize building her full emergency fund while making the minimum debt payments. Once she's built her emergency fund, she could either redirect that money to invest in, or she could accelerate paying off that student loan debt. If your debt is low interest rate like Keisha's, this approach could work really well for you. Now let's look at Aliyah. She has £10,000 of credit card debt at a 24% interest rate. Now what she could do is save a small emergency fund while making minimum debt payments. She can aggressively attack her debt while saving small amounts. Then once her debt is paid off, she can build her full emergency fund. If your debt is high interest rate like Aliyah's, following this strategy can save you thousands. Now if you're still unclear, here's a decision tree. If you have absolutely no savings, build your starter emergency fund. This could be £1,000 or 1 month's worth of essential living expenses. If your debt interest rate is 8% or higher, aggressively pay off your debt while saving small amounts. If your debt is 7% or lower and it's manageable, focus on building your full emergency fund. Then redirect that money into investing or attack your debt. Okay, now you have the principle and the decision tree, but how do you actually get started? Let's break it down into practical steps. Step one, list all of your debts. Now, it's important to be super organized when it comes to paying off your debt because you need to see all of your information. So grab a Google Sheet, an Excel spreadsheet, pen and paper, an app, whatever works best for you, and write down all of your debts. You need to include the creditor, so who you owe the debt to, the total amount, the interest rate, the minimum amount, and the due date. Then you want to sort them in order of interest rate, highest to lowest. This will give you your full picture so you know exactly where you're starting from. Step two, work out your budget. Now, in order to pay off your debt and save, you need to know exactly how much money you can afford to put towards it. So you need to look at your income and your essential living expenses. Now, when I say essential living expenses, I mean things like your rent, your mortgage, your utilities, transport, food, any costs that are essential to you surviving each month. Now, I'm not talking about Netflix, subscriptions, eating out. those non-essential expenses may have to be put to the side temporarily while we focus on paying down your debt and building up your savings. Once you've deducted your essential living expenses from your income, that money left over is essentially your money power to put towards paying off debt and saving. Step 3, open a high interest savings account. Now, if you're in the UK, you can open a cash ISA. This is a great option because it will allow you to save up to £20,000 without paying tax. There are some great options for cash ISAs. Right now, Plum is offering a 4.66%. Trading 212 are offering a 4.1%. Chase are offering a 4.75%, but that's on the standard savings account. This can be a great place to park your money while earning interest. Now, if you're outside of the UK, you can just open a standard savings account. I suggest going for an online only bank account because they will have the best interest rates. You can look on websites like USwitch to compare banks and see which one is offering the best rate. Step 4, build your startup emergency fund. Now, set up an automatic transfer from your current account to your savings account to build your starter emergency fund. This will remove any friction and make saving easy. Step 5, make minimum debt payments while saving. Now, while you're saving your starter emergency fund, you don't want to ignore your debt. You want to make the minimum debt payments. This won't move the needle in terms of paying off your debt, but it will save you from any penalties or any extra fees while your starter fund grows. Step 6, pay off your debt. Now it's time to choose a debt repayment method. Now, there are two main options. You can use the avalanche method. This focuses on paying off the debt with the highest interest rate first while making the minimum payment on the other balances. This method makes the most sense financially because it will save you money. Or you can use the snowball method, which focuses on paying off the smallest balance first and then focusing on the next one and the next one. This works well because it gives you quick wins, it builds your confidence, and it gives you momentum because you will see your debt balances go down faster. Now, once your starter emergency fund is in place, focus the majority of your money on paying down debt. This could look like using 90% of your money power that you calculated in step 2 towards paying off your debt and using 10% towards savings. You can play around with the percentages, but just make sure that the majority of your money power is going towards your debt. Step 7, build your full emergency fund. Once you're debt free, you want to build your full emergency fund, and this is 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses that we discussed in step 2. Now, the order in which you do steps 6 and 7 will depend on the type of debt you have, as we discussed earlier. Step 8, start investing. Now that you're debt free and fully protected, it's time to start investing for long-term wealth. Now, don't make the same mistake I did. Once I had built my full emergency fund, I kept saving because it felt safe. I think I was scarred from being in debt and living paycheck to paycheck that I just wanted to keep saving because it felt safe. No, don't do that. Once you paid off your debt, you have your full emergency fund, move on to investing and building wealth. I know that if you're in debt, it can feel stressful and frustrating, but it doesn't mean you're bad with money. It's not your fault. Life happens. We all make mistakes. What matters is you're here, you're taking action. And even if you mess up along the way, just keep going. It's about progress, not perfection. Progress is how you win with money and actually reach your goals. And if you're ready for the next step, watch my next video here where I show you how to build your emergency fund step by step. Give this video a like if you found it helpful and consider subscribing for more videos to help you on your finance journey. As always, stay rich in mindset and the money will follow. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.